Sekai's breaks through to the top 5 best junglers of M6. But it's those little moments that matter, game-winning moments that matter, that Detective just lock in.
Are gone. Suyo gets respected by CFU. What kind of matchup are we going to get there? You know, if SRG can pick anything else, I think I'd want to see them go into Hayabusa for Sekai's if possible.
As a first pick as well?
No, not a first phase. First phase.
That makes a lot more sense. But I don't know. Now that we've taken out the traditional first pick heroes, it begs the question of what SRG wants to do. Probably, I mean, like, they might revert back to High Loss for all we know. Matilda's also open, but they're going to go with the Hilda one more time, despite seeing what happened in that previous game.
I get it because the Hilda keeps the jungle honest. So if you pick this early, you tell Detective alpha or bust.
Yeah.
And that's kind of makes the window of opportunity for Detective to go clutch mode much smaller.
Yeah. Let's see. Will it be alpha for CFU?
It might be. Folks, still open is the Hylos, the Gatot Kacha, even the Phobias if they want to put that on Wadu.
All of which are going to be pretty decent. However, you need to keep in mind that the Hilda will beat them in lane if necessary.
And Eve. But, you know, knowing CFU now, see what they did in game 1, they might want to keep it in the second phase. Yep. They do get the H, and the early Moskov again.
They're going to do it again. I feel like they're going to offer this Moskov on A plate, just say, hey, maybe if you want to play an assassin, at least we have some potential counterplay, but at the same time, this opens up other areas of the map as well. It could make the jungle a little bit more honest, but the mid lane has been such a key crux for CFU.
Singh was also doing some incredible stuff as that Moskov in that previous one. Ankle breaker, side steps, making the most of the Spear of Destruction. So I feel like that's also just the player going, Coach, I'm feeling it. Please give me that Moskov. And they went ahead and took it. And they didn't just do it for the macro of it all. Usually we see Moskov's defaulted to 4-1. Nope, we saw that Moskov join fights. But SRG now, they want to go fast. So yeah, they don't get the jewel because they wanted the Matilda for Yumes, and they got the alpha themselves.
I mean, finally, the Matilda is finally going to get picked up here. Like, it's been, the fact that it got let through so many times is already pretty incredible. But now with the composition that they have, at least Alpha can go all in and still be able to pull back out.
Spidey senses tingling. I feel like by picking these 3 first, you're allowing CFU to draft into a mid-core. Because there's nothing that's going to find the likes of a Savior or Cecilia, not right now. Unless you put, what, a Claude into Innocent's hands again? Or a Beatrix? Like, you're letting Z get away with so much.
I mean, if they want to go real wild, if they put a little bit more peel from the side of SRG, we might even see an Ixia if necessary. But now with the Joy, ooh, a bit of a deterrent.
Yeah, and what a move there by CFU. I thought they'd want to default into something a little bit sturdier, maybe even show up a Bane that they love to play out, bring out the literal sharks in game. But no, they said we're still going to match it. They want to pick the Joy. Maybe this is CFU still leaning to the idea of we can just play it tricky. They don't want to play an honest team fight. They want to spread the attention of SRG, break their formations. But the biggest question when you're going up against a Matilda, the Alpha, the Hilda, is if you can even do that, because that's a very solid 3.
It is a very solid 3, and now, oh man, CFU really smart. Banning out the Natan, they're trying to get rid of the self-peel and ways so that at least, hey, this Joy can get on top of you without any issues.
Yeah, they're saying, Innocent, hey, you like those whatever's left kind of picks?
You like playing Claude again?
Maybe that's why they picked the Joy. Maybe this is now us seeing CFU's take on what we suggested for them in the draft. Think about Innocent and what he might pick up. They prioritize the Moskov. They can definitely go Joy. Now it seems like the last remaining marksmen that they could pick up don't have strong self-protect. Easy for the Joy to pick off.
Just means that the gold lane side of the map is going to leave Pram isolated on an island on a Hilda nonetheless, right? And if the jungle decides to path on his side of the map first, that means at the very least, he's going to be there to do nothing. He's going to have to go into the mid lane, and if he goes past that mid lane, he's going to have to sacrifice something in his own EXP.
What if, let's pose an alternative here. Is there still room right now for SRG to go back into one of the strats in the earlier part of the second half of this year? What if they go Gold Ruby? They don't put their carry into the gold. They put it in the mid.
No. Not with an alpha in the jungle.
Yeah.
You can't do that. It's not enough damage.
There's too many problems that need to be answered first. I mean, they're getting rid of the chip. They're also getting rid of the Zas. Yves is still open, though, and I don't think they might play into it because that means they could show the Valentina, so they're going to go with Vexana instead.
CFU's first 4 picks look very good. SRG, whatever these last 2 picks are, need to be something just massive to swing the draft in their favor. The Granger is still open in terms of damage. If we want hard single target lockdown, the Beatrix is there too. But then again, the biggest problem is that Joy, whatever gold laner Innocent ends up with, might actually just be an easy target for the assassin of CFU.
The 1-1 really doesn't do much. You can't cleanse Magic Burst like that.
Nope.
I mean, you could go Airthel with Sprint, but even so, there's so many ways that this could go wrong, especially since Hylos is on the opponent's side.
Yeah.
The moment you get slow, you lose so much damage.
What's it gonna be? SRG. What's your mid? What's your gold?
Wow! a very interesting take. Very, very interesting take here. Now they can technically play for pickoff, and at least with the carry, they can deal with the frontliners that is going to be, running at them from the side of CFU. Very similar to how Vamos answered this high loss.
That's right, back to back yesterday. Nets run roughshod against high losses in his way. Is this hero number 71?
I think it is.
No, we already saw Vale picked up earlier. It already had one pick.
It's 70.
It's still 70.
70.
Yeah. Was the last pick for CFU. If it's a strong, sturdy EXP laner or frontliner, as they pick up the Gacha, the carry, that was the read of SRG. They wanted shredders.
Oh my goodness, what a difficult composition for SRG to play. They need to
see if they're able to seal the deal, because SRG, they too bring something new in this game number 2 draft.
Gotta leave a breath of a sigh out, man. After this, SRG down a game in a best-of-3 elimination match against the Sharks of Cambodia.
Right.
CFU Gaming, they are one step away from stopping single-handedly this golden road of SRG, but SRG, they can make it stop right here. They can try to pull off a comeback. 1-to-1 equalization, let's see.
Yep, because if we were to look at the lineups right now, I really like to talk about this particular composition that was shown to us by SRG. We know that the Mathilda Hilda, the Mathilda Alpha, those are the type of combos which you often see as a huge threat in terms of mobility, but they coupled it up even with the Vale, whose innate passive is actually mobility, right? So they can like just be moving so fast around the map, even during the team fights. But I must say, the panelists have already mentioned it earlier. It'll take a lot to execute the conditions that are necessary for this particular lineup to work in their hands. Looking at the emblems right now, it seems like Stormy's also investing quite in the damage. They definitely needed that. It was also mentioned earlier that having the Alpha as the jungle, you'd need some sort of other sources of damage, and it seems like they're trying to compensate for that, especially in the early stages while they're waiting for Innocent to just pick up all the necessary items on the carry in order to shred the other members of CFU Gaming.
Let's take a look at the emblems here. This time around, it's actually a bit, well, actually way safer. We got so many tenacities, 3 tenacities for CFU Gaming. So I would say still the same level of aggression from CFU. It's just that, yeah, they have way more defensive emblems. They're more defensive-minded. Did Detective get that? I think Skies was the one who actually secured that on the Alpha. It's interesting the fact that they went for the Gatot Kacha plus the Hylos, by the way, up against this kind of composition. Innocent up top on a carry, actually losing out against Sing on the Moskov. So already something different. OP will only now just pick up the roam boot. So the first 3 levels, he's actually been soaking in the XP and gold from the minion waves.
An interesting take here for CFU Gaming. But all will be tested in this first turtle. Cram is doing signature Cram things, but it seems like the target is different. Sakai's actually wants to go for Wadu, pokes him enough to force out the Revitalize, but Detective though.
They're gonna dive over. Great pick from Stormy, catching them. And now Cram will back away. They know they've gotten the win in the trades in the mid lane. It is still just them occupying the bushes, trying to wait for these clashes against CFU. Will have to give away control over towards SRG.
And SRG, honestly, they have multiple ways to deny this aggression from CFU, right? It's either you go with the guiding wind, it's either you just move fast enough yourself to escape all those threats, or it's either you also interrupt these aggressions head on with all those knockups from Stormy, with that ultimate, with that passive itself as well that can actually aid him in moving faster around the map. So Selangor Giants, they have a lot of ways to just recalibrate and make sure that they're ready enough to engage in a fight before they actually commit it. And CFU Gaming might find it difficult to do what they did in the first game, which was just forcing the fights here and there.
Now it's the opposite. Oh, an SOD over. A cheeky little steal attempt from Sing from up top. But yeah, it's the complete opposite here in game number 2. Game number 1, it was SRG waiting for the power spikes, waiting for the joy, and not contesting. Oh, Windstorm almost takes Seed down. Good flicker out. That was close. The fadeaway basic attacks from Innocent almost took him down.
We literally have to thank... I mean, he isn't even on tough boots.
Nope.
So he was just able to... probably the effects of the decreased knock-up time that we've seen in one of the more recent patches, but then that was really, really close for Z. But now we're seeing better rotations from SRG. Definitely CFU Gaming, we rarely see them actually engage and start things up. Even in that particular moment where Detective attempted to go in, it didn't work well for them, just because SRG had a way to stop them. That's the entire idea we're seeing right now. It's either they evade all these attempts and prepare to fight back, or just stop them in their tracks completely and then immediately respond to fight back.
So it's all about Prio again. Skies picks up that War Axe. 4th minute in the game, that'll give him a lot of sustain in these skirmishes. CFU Gaming, yeah, to go back to the point, the fact that they went for the Gatot Kacha and the Hylos after seeing the carry and Alpha was definitely an interesting choice to go for, right? There's so much shred, I would say, for the side of SRG. And CFU will have to also kind of like bob and weave in these team fights. Yomes walks up, whoa. Yeah, they're definitely not going to take that. Just a bit of a, you know, that's a threat right there. It's like, hey, we'll get you next time.
It's a threat, but I don't see the kill threat just yet, especially up against Wadu. So this is the second time we're seeing Wadu on the Hylos, though, and there's probably some sort of respect coming in as well, considering that Wadu earlier, when he just got the advantage, he was just unstoppable on the Hylos. But Detective seems to be having a much more difficult time this time around. Will he be able to steal this turtle away?
5 members grouping up. Oh, Innocent secures it. Skies didn't get to pop in the retreat, but Innocent, as good as always, the good old consistent man, secures it for the team. Up top, Detective will just shove the wave. Meanwhile, Sing staying busy in the bottom lane, just looking for farm.
Yeah. It's actually Detective even used his retribution back there, but wait, Wadu, he's able to sustain that, and there's the SOD, but will they go in?
No.
These are 4 members of SRG who are still full HP, so they're starting to group up. And at least for CFU, they have some ways to actually manage the macro game. Again, we're seeing Sing just do his job and focus on the possible turns that they can take. But so long as they know that they're probably not yet hitting their power spikes, similar to the previous game, they're not going to engage in a fight.
It's all about just waiting here. For SRG, they are very comfortable waiting for the mid-game. They still have the carry. Sing will go in. Innocent, actually.
Whoa.
A lot of damage placed down from Innocent. Popping the light wheels. 1.5k gold lead. CFU still holding on to their turrets here. Detective will just go and farm on the other side of the map. And yeah, it really is a battle of scaling almost, right? Right now, like SRG are doing a better job at it because they've gotten the first few neutral objectives, the first 2 neutral objectives to be exact, and they have more control. Yums, circling Eagle, Water trying to go in. Oh, the Purified doesn't matter at all. The Windstorm catches him. Spear of Alpha catching Water, could terrify down. OP will be shredded down. Oh, glorious pathway and the double revitalize to save OP from that skirmish. Detective is just farming. He shoved in the bottom lane already. Now he goes for the retreat in the mid lane, stopping ways from SRG to capitalize even more from that pickoff onto Sing.
And I think that's one of the biggest differences we're seeing in terms of CFU Gaming's lineup right now, right? Earlier, they had a lot of means to just keep on protecting Sing, whenever Selangor, Giants, or SRG was actually trying to attempt to take him down. But now it seems like it's taking them a lot more time just to do that. The Avatar of the Guardian, you'd have to channel it for quite some time, and then you can't just like throw it out there without enough information against SRG, or you can if you just really want to zone the members of SRG. But things are becoming a lot more difficult for them this time around because they're just catching CFU off guard all the time, and Sekai still gets the turtle!
Amazing retribution from Skies. Whoa, the AOG forward. Innocent getting the turret now. It is the shred from Innocent. OP taken down. CFU got nothing in that exchange. It was all Selangor Red Giants.
And even when they tried to go for the counter sets, CFU Gaming didn't feel like they had the damage just yet. They weren't confident enough to actually engage in the fights, and SRG just kept taking advantage of that. Now they're just focusing on taking down all of the turrets. Imagine 8 minutes into the game, CFU Gaming are nearly trapped in their base, and SRG's doing just a great job zoning!
2-man Spear of Alpha, the Windstorm! Oh, Sing! He's burning down, taking down! OP was taken out already. Sing will barely stay alive. But SRG, they are controlling and dictating every step of the way of game number 2.
Yeah, it's so hard to think of a way of how CFU Gaming is going to play around this because of the mobility of SRG, because of their ways to stop CFU. And even if they actually try to head in first, SRG, they're just so high in terms of damage. They can immediately take down OP. OP's not having a good time. He's 0-3 on the Katot Kacha. Actually taking like 3 out of the 4 kills that SRG has. This is a very low scoring game that we're seeing. SRG's just focusing on winning the game. They're not actually trying to go head-to-head in terms of the team fight, similar to what we saw in game number 1 against CFU.
And you know what that means? When you have a 5.4k gold lead in the 9th minute, and it's only 4-0, there's only 4 kills in total, that means there's absolutely no bounty for CFU Gaming to rely on to actually come back. They're gonna have to like look for a big fight, and yeah, again, no bounty. They're gonna have to climb back, and it's a slow climb back. It is a very, very difficult climb back to neutralization, with the gold lead being almost all from farm and objectives like this.
Yeah, and when you want to rely on Sing or at least Detective to actually go for the split pushes, to actually control the other sides of the map, the mobility is such a threat for SRG because they can just catch up immediately and they won't have any way to actually contest.
Oh my goodness!
The objective and that burst damage from Stormy.
That's the veil. That's the veil right there, man. Windbender, we call him. I guess Innocent in the bottom lane will take this turret for free. CFU, let's take a look at how different the itemization looks. Actually, Stormy and Z, there's not a big difference there, only 600 gold.
Yeah.
But then we see, very big disparity of gold between the gold laners. Oh, he's got rose gold, dog!
I could like sense how Innocent could be just a lot more confident going in up against CFU at this point. Even against the Eternal Guard, that might just not pose much of a threat. But Detective!
Okay. Baits out the Windstorm at least, so at least it's going to be some resources used up, Skies. Zoning them in the back. Z able to get the Terrify onto 2 members. No Eternal Guard to follow it up. Again, the Windstorm gets, or not Windstorm rather, the knock up. It's the Wind Blow. Gets him up, and will just be SRG playing back for the waves. They need to wait for the waves. They cannot get too greedy with the pushes.
Yep, but they have another incoming wave towards the mid, and it seems like this is an opportunity for them, but they avoid the Avatar of the Guardian, and they just shred OP down!
Detective in the back, though, looking for it. That's a Circling Eagle, almost contesting it, almost canceling the electrifying beats from being used before. But CFU will be able to defend. They will, however, have to sacrifice OP. It's not the best case, but I guess for CFU, it's still a win if SRG don't get a single base turret, right?
Yep.
That's the only win they'll get, I guess, in the siege.
Yeah.
That's another clear. Oh my goodness, Stormy! The storm and the wind, it blows together. The windstorm. Now it's an SOD into the mid lane. You don't want to take it. They'll clear out the minions around the base. But then in the bottom lane, SRG will just relocate their damage, allocating it towards the base turret. You can hear the M6 arena go wild after that play.
They forced their way to the base. CFU Gaming, they wanted to make sure that with that Lord that they secured, they'd at least take down 1 or 2 base turrets, and that was more than enough for SRG. And imagine the range we're seeing here for Stormy. How could you put yourself anywhere near SRG if you know that there's a threat of an immediate burst down from a full combo of this Veil? Whenever he gains vision towards Z, towards Detective, towards Sing even. Unfortunately for Sing, he hasn't really been able to position himself near enough towards SRG to actually fight. And that's a problem. That's a problem, right? Because earlier, Sing had almost no problems just trying to position himself whenever there was a team fight. But it's a completely different story right now up against this lineup of SRG. So long as they know that that combo's there, who will be willing enough to go near Stormy?
I don't think anyone can really go near Stormy, right? You give Stormy, a guy with Storm in his name, a hero that has Windstorm as his ultimate? Oh my... Yikes, man. I guess we get to see why. Or maybe we get to see what they were trying to save up for the knockout stage. What? Oh man, what? What happened to his HP bar? Spear of Alpha into the back line. Sing still able to go for the free hits, but it does nothing to Skies. Z in the back getting taken out. Innocent will get the double. Detective of the world. Oh, pops in the Winter Crown. But now the shields of the photo. It will take him out. Innocent is on a killing spree just based on the 3 kills. That's a triple. Selangor Red Giants. They want to keep their golden road alive.
They will be forcing their way once more to the base, and we will not prolong this game any longer. We are officially entering the first ever game number 3 we're seeing in the last day of the Swiss stage.
CFU Gaming took 1 game. Selangor Red Giants took 1-1-0, 11-0
And
in 13 minutes.
I mean, we
They
were
took it
asking,
personally.
who would be confident enough to go near? Wadu did, but he did not last long. Now let's hear what the panel has to say now that we're heading into their first game number 3.
2 out of your 3 engagers, right? If you are working specifically with Stormy Prodigy, I mean, I love the fact that he goes for full damage, lethal ignition on top of having Weapons Master as well. First item, Genius Wand. After he limit tested prior to that, realizing, hey, they're actually getting put down. Honestly, getting an anti-cuirass to try and protect themselves, maybe even the blade armor when you're up against someone who's playing the Holy Trinity in this carry, but it's true damage at the end of the day. So he's got to cut through it as soon as possible.
Play the burn.
CFU look like they really just couldn't find anything. They got a tower.
That's it.
It's pretty much just a tower. Them taking this last fight here, though, could have been something else. It could have been an attempt for a pick. The moment OP went in and you saw that he would get punished, they didn't need to commit into that. I don't know what CFU were trying to attempt there, though.
There were multiple times where you could say